Have people told you that you should write a book, but you're not a writer and you're not sure it's worth your time? I'd like to fast forward to your last breath and ask you, what wisdom do you wish you would have written down for your industry, your children, and future generations? And if the thought that's popping up in your head is, I don't know how to write, I don't have time, I've got nothing, get ready. I'm about to show you a 5-step process to write your legacy book.
Every day, over 4,500 books are published. Should one of those be yours? Maybe it should be, because we know you have something worth saying that could help other people. There are 3 groups of people in Genius Network when it comes to books. Group A are published authors with 1 or more books to their credit. Group B are thought leaders who have a genius ability in some area, who are planning on writing a book, yet it just they haven't gotten around to it yet. And then there's a 3rd group, Group C. This group has made a decision they will never ever write a book. Whichever group you're in, this 10-minute talk can be helpful to you. You will learn the power of your book to help you expand your reach, position you as an expert, and in some cases make you an awful lot of money. This is the subject Susan Gilbert has devoted over 20 years of her life perfecting. Founder of Messengers on a Mission, she uses a transformative process to help entrepreneurs dig below the surface to their golden idea, the most emotionally compelling idea that will express their true voice and create a legacy that lives on forever. She's not an editor, she is a visionary who has a very unique ability. The ability to see things others don't, and to be able to quickly identify the essence or the power of the ideas authors have and focus on that one unique factor. In the world of big game hunting in Africa, there are hunters and there are spotters. The spotters see things before the hunter ever does, and that's what Susan does. She has held the hands of hundreds of authors through this journey of writing their legacy book. In this 10-minute talk, you're going to learn her 5-step method to write your book. Please keep in mind that this is a big step for Susan, who is not a speaker and is coming out of her comfort zone to share these ideas with you. Susan knows how meaningful it can be for you to be able to preserve your wisdom and your legacy. This is something she also knows about. In less than the span of 1 year, Susan lost both her husband and her mother. It became painfully clear to her that we have no idea how long we will be on this planet, and that writing a unique book to share your life's learning has a great value, as well as a gift to those we leave behind. Susan's title is Your Last Breath. Write the book that lives on as your legacy. Please help me welcome Susan Gilbert.
Have you ever noticed when authors, like many of our Genius Network members, Ben Hardy, Paul Culligan, Dan Sullivan, stay consistent with their messaging? Staying on brand, being known for a particular idea or message makes you memorable. When you write a book that reflects your one golden idea, one that supports or creates your brand, it's something you will be remembered for. By show of hands in the room, how many of you have already written a book? Great, thanks. In the virtual room, type yes. Now, raise your hand if you haven't written a book. And in the virtual room, type no. Great. Looks like we've got about 50-50. If you answered yes, you've already written a book. I can give you some ideas to help the next one be even better. Or if you're thinking about writing a book, you're going to get a lot out of this next 10 minutes that's going to speed up the process and make it much more enjoyable. And if writing a book is the last thing you want to do, and you wouldn't even put it on your bucket list, I want to convince you that you should. Hopefully, something you hear today might just trigger, well, maybe I should write a book. Have people told you that you should write a book, but you're not a writer and you're not sure it's worth your time? I'd like to fast forward to your last breath and ask you, what wisdom do you wish you would have written down for your industry, your children, and future generations? And if the thought that's popping up in your head is, I don't know how to write, I don't have time, I've got nothing, get ready. I'm about to show you a 5-step process to write your legacy book.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there.
Step 1, your golden idea. It all starts here. And it just takes one. Beyond these often asked questions, finding your golden idea is less about a formula and more of an organic process. That's why this will not be a fill-in-the-blank kind of experience. The truth is that your message is living deep inside of you. Use these 3 questions to get started. Then start digging deeper for the gold. Books come in many different sizes and with different purposes. Lead gen, influencer marketing, but gold is where the transformation takes place for both you and your readers. It's where we satisfy our ache for purpose. When you hear the name BJ Fogg, what do you think of? Tiny habits. So even if BJ writes future books, he's really put his stake in the ground that what's important to him is forming tiny habits. It's his brand, his golden message, his legacy. One of my clients built a real estate empire, then retired at the age of 45. He started flying, and though he was quite new to aviation, he was being asked to speak to groups of pilots. So we dug deep to uncover the message that connects his entrepreneurial and flying spirit, his true essence. Flying Through Life was born, his book and his brand. He did a solo circumnavigation around the world with his brand logo on the tail of his airplane. Within 2 years, he was a thought leader in the aviation industry in this new niche. Aviation is his passion, which is the jet fuel for his brand and legacy. By the way, when he did that circumnavigation, he received over $500,000 from sponsors that made the trip possible. And he's done another around the world trip since then that sponsors contributed over $1 million to. But hey, before Robert wrote his book, the only people that knew about him were his nephews and his next door neighbor. All joking aside, that's the power of having a book. Then there's Rick Cesari, a legend and pioneer in direct response TV. He created some of the most successful infomercials, including the one for the George Foreman Grill. Yet despite his success, he was feeling like a dinosaur with a change of media on TV to social media. We dug deep to find out what he uniquely could bring into the current meta and created video persuasion. This is his new personal brand and book that made him relevant in today's market. That's the power of you having a book. My gift book, The Land If I Can, is what got me started in this industry over 20 years ago and was born from my personal experience of losing both my husband and mother when I was only 25 years old. I had one golden idea with a goal to create a gift book that women would buy for themselves and gift to others, which did happen. A woman gave a copy to Elaine Fink, who was the executive director for the Leadership Academy that mentored 250 school principals. She gifted copies to each principal at their first in-house conference, and they took the books back to their schools. When the school started ordering books in quantity, I asked them, "How are you using all these books?" Their answer was that they were using The Land If I Can for character development. I knew then that this book is my legacy, which set me on my current path to help others do the same using the power of a book. Once we have the golden idea, it's time to map out the stories that make us unique. This is where we write stories about our life, our passions, our wise lessons learned. It gets the creative juices flowing. And I'm going to make this creative process really easy for you so you don't look like this guy. You'll get my story map guidebook as a free handout today. Once you have your golden idea and stories, it's almost a plug and play to pull the golden thread from beginning to end of your book with one clear and congruent message. An outline will help you stay organized and on track as you write. Consider an outline that includes an introduction with 3, 5, 7 chapters, and you'll have a 100+ page book. You don't need to put everything you've ever learned or know in this book. Stay on message, your golden message, and you'll have a book with a soul that only you can write. Which brings me to step number 4 is write. Okay, I heard the groans. Barbra Streisand said that there's one statement that was the foundation of her whole career. She realized that when things didn't work out, she was thinking, well, I'll try it, or I'll see if it works out. She never fully committed, but when she made a commitment, the money appeared, the producer appeared, the director appeared, everybody appeared. It was just so easy once she made a commitment. And then she found this quote attributed to Goethe, and it became her guidepost. She knew if she wanted success with a project, what she needed was commitment. If she made that commitment, everything was going to work out. She didn't stress about it. But when she thought, I'll see if it works out, it didn't. I've found that when clients aren't committed, they'll start and then they'll stop and they'll fall off the radar. Step 4, write, is not about perfection. It's about being your authentic self with your own true stories. Only you can write this book with a soul, and we'll leave the polishing to someone else, which is step 5. In this step, you really can leave it to someone else. A good editor is your best friend. I have a stable of go-to editors based on a book's topic, and they turn rough manuscripts into sparkling diamonds. We all have regrets, and regret is a valuable emotion that can lead us to better understand ourselves and even to live our lives differently. Dan Pink did a world regret survey. He read through 15,000 replies from over 100 countries and deduced that there really are only 4 core regrets. Foundational, if only I'd done the work. Boldness, if only I'd taken the chance. Moral, if only I'd done the right thing. And connection, if only I'd reached out. Fast forward to a year from now and ask yourself, how would you feel if you had a book that was published? A lot of people were reading it, and almost every day you got an email from a reader thanking you. How would that make you feel? The Land of I Can says trust, believe, and take one step. Find a quiet place and start writing some ideas. By taking that one step, you've started to write your book, the start of getting your life-changing message into people's hands and hearts. The world is waiting for your book.
You did it. As you said in the introduction, Joe, she's not a speaker. This is not something she's done. She's a writer, and she really spent a lot of time working on this. So what can you use? She opened with the audience. She talked about Ben's book and Dean's book, using members that connects to the audience that she's talking to. Then she asked you the question, how many? And she asked Gina to help her. That's when you have this mixture of meetings where you have a live audience and you have a virtual audience, you need somebody in charge of both. So that was one of the things that was very effective. And then she told us right in the beginning, 2 minutes and 8 seconds, we were into the first of the 5 steps. Set it up, get right into it. And then she tied back to BJ Fogg with the Tiny Habits, another member. And she has the handout, which we're getting here, and you will have that also online. And then there was a little glitch. Did you notice that? She stopped. She never made an excuse. She didn't complain. She didn't cry. And this was great, Susan. You just fix the problem and move forward. Fix it, forward. That's all you got to think about. Forget the other F.
What's the other F?
I don't know. I've heard you use it. And then she gave you those 5 steps that were so easy to follow. And then the closing. The closing kind of wraps up your message, and hers was on regret. And how devastating that can be if you don't follow through with what's in your heart. So hopefully you will be writing your book, and Susan, you'll be getting a lot of positive feedback that it works. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Okay, I hope you found that video awesome and useful. So if you want to get a free copy of my book, I want you to click here. And if you want to watch some more videos that'll be useful and awesome, click here. Go ahead. You're over here. Do it now. Come on. Thank you. Watch them.